In some of my quiet time, I got to thinking about a man by the name of Enoch. We find him in the book of Genesis, chapter number 5, and in verse number 24, it says, "And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him." And I find this to be fascinating. I find it to be very instrumental in just thinking about resurrection, about the coming of the Lord, about all the things that are so much involved in Christian doctrine and teaching. But here's the thing. When you take this and you just kind of let it stand alone, what leaves me with a lot of questions is, especially if I was a person who had never heard about Enoch, had never heard about anything that had to do with God or anything spiritual. It would just leave me full of questions. Is who is this God that it refers to here that took him? And then what do they do with him? I mean, it's just so much to know. So I thought that before I spent a lot of time just talking about Enoch and what it all represents, that I would try to set the picture for anybody who has no knowledge about God and what God did and who God is. And so obviously I have to take you back to the book of Genesis, chapter number 1. Because in chapter number 1 it says, in the beginning, God created. And to me, that's a huge, huge statement. Again, leaving a lot of questions. You see, here it is. Those of us who are Christians, especially if you've been a Christian all your life, well, you've been hearing all about these things from the time that you were a child, and you've probably got it pretty much settled in your mind how this whole thing works. In the beginning, God. But it just doesn't say in the beginning was God. It says in the beginning God created, because we know, according to Christian doctrine, that God has no beginning of days, no ending of days. In other words, God was not created. But God created the earth. Fascinating. So you would ask the question, I said, well, where did God come from? Well, to most humans, that just is just a bridge too far. Just can't seem to fathom that. Something that has no beginning. Because in our world, in our finite world, everything has a beginning and everything has an ending. But not with God. So, we've got a lot to learn here in the next few days. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.